So Wade, who's your favorite Joker?
I mean, I don't know. That's really hard to pick. There's been so many. I'd probably have to say Jared Leto.
Arthur, does it help to have someone to talk to?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face.
Today, we are talking about Joker
2019.
the only movie called Joker.
There might be one in like the 1900s. You never know. Just confirming.
There could be. So, Devin, how did you feel about this movie? What did you think?
Personally, I liked it, but I had problems with it. That's my big thing.
Big problems that kept you from loving it?
A little, yes. I would say yes. I liked it, though. I liked it. I was a little disappointed by some things. Mainly, I felt like it was toned down a little. Like, not toned down, but it felt restricted, personally.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I felt like it could have gone way more wacky, personally.
Wacky? Okay.
Yeah. Wacky and dark. I feel like it could have been way darker.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna go into spoilers, I guess, yet.
Yeah, we'll do a separate spot for spoilers.
Yeah. But like I just feel like a lot of the stuff he did could have been blown over more. But I don't know if that was on purpose and intentional. Like I don't know. Like the way he portrayed himself could have been a lot worse, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if that was on purpose or not.
I mean, it could have been, because this movie definitely is trying to kind of feel a bit more grounded. And I think if they went like super over the top and like had him do like crazy outlandish shit, it could have worked. Anything can work, but I think it would have kind of ruined the tone of the movie.
And I think they were trying to make him a little likable. Because I guess you have to make your main character a little likable.
But that's I found that interesting though. I love this movie. I think this movie's fantastic, and I think making the Joker kind of likable fits within the Joker's character, because you do kind of like the Joker, but he is this evil fucking guy who is just unpredictable and you don't know what the hell's going to happen. But there's something about the Joker that you kind of like. So I kind of like that they made him kind of sympathetic at the beginning. And I like the fact that when what happens, you kind of have to look at yourself and go like, oh man, I was rooting for this guy. Like, fuck. And it's one of those movies that makes you kind of question yourself about like, if you feel sympathetic for a guy like this, what does that say about you? Like that, I think that's the ultimate kind of point of this movie.
Yeah.
It's meant to like spark conversation on stuff.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with here. But I again just feel like it could have been a lot darker, I think.
I thought it was pretty damn dark already.
I thought it was dark. I thought it was going to be darker, though. That's what I guess I had higher expectations for it going in, and that's what made me a little disappointed by it. But that end, tonally, no, it's not tone. Pacing wise, it was a little slow, personally, for me.
Really?
Yeah, it felt a little slow. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. It could have been.
I thought it moved. Yeah, I thought it was over, and I was like, "Fuck."
I thought it was a little slow for me. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I was just tired that day or something. But it felt slow for me.
I mean, it's definitely not perfect. I have some problems with it too. Most of which I'll talk about in spoilers, because they do kind of involve the plot and everything. And I don't want to.
I have some plot spoilers too, but I'm not going to say those yet.
Yeah. And I do like how I really like how this movie, while it isn't super, one of the biggest problems I have with this is the fact that it is a movie about Joker in a way where it's not really about the Joker, but it's all the DC inclusion stuff I think is a problem that I had. I think if this was just its own thing, it probably could have taken a little bit more risks and done something a little bit better. And like you were saying, go like super dark with it if it was its own thing. But at the same time, it does pay respect and does do the character of the Joker kind of probably the best we've ever seen in a live action setting. He's not the way Joaquin Phoenix is acting is not comic book Joker, but there's some elements in the movie where I'm like, that's totally something the Joker would do.
And give the Oscar to Joaquin Phoenix now.
Oh
He fucking nailed it. That's one of the
Joaquin Phoenix
best things
is
about it. His
fantastic. Fantastic.
Was amazing.
I like how he's he plays it kind of subdued a lot of times, but it's the looks he would give sometimes. Like there's one shot of him, I'd say probably towards the end, where he's just like smoking a cigarette, and I don't want to say like the setting of where it is, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Like backstage or whatever. And he's just like smoking a cigarette, and the look on his face, I'm like, some shit's about to go down. Like something like that. It's all in his eyes and everything. And I'm like, that takes talent to like say so much without actually like saying anything is fucking awesome. And Joaquin Phoenix is great at doing that.
I was gonna say for sure, give him the Oscar. He deserves it. It was
Great.
He did a really good job. I want to say this is also, I guess it's a non-spoiler, but if you're going into this movie thinking it's like a comic booky type movie, it is not that whatsoever.
It's not. It's not even really like a fun movie. Like I could see a lot of people watching this and be like, that, like, I don't want to see this ever again.
Like it plays a lot on mental illness, and I think that's what makes it not a comic book movie, because it's on a serious topic, I guess.
Well, and I mean, even without that, I think it's very kind of Taxi Driver-esque. It's very King of Comedy-esque. It's very, I got shades of like Nightcrawler from it. It just doesn't have the same like vibe that most comic book movies have. Even Logan, I think the tone of this is even darker and more kind of sinister than Logan is, because it's about a villain. It's about a bad guy.
I was gonna say this is way darker than Logan, I think.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Way darker. I still think it could have been way darker though.
If this movie was darker than it already is, that would have been insane.
But that's what I wanted. I wanted to be that dark, like go all the way.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely could have. There's some spots where I'm like, really, like that's it. You could have like done something else. But I am perfectly fine with how dark this movie is. I think it's darker than I definitely expected it to be.
I got to give credit to Warner Brothers. They pulled it out, and I didn't think they were going to. When they were saying it was rated R and it was going to be dark, I'm like, okay, but how rated R and how rated R?
Yeah. I was kind of surprised at the language in the movie, because usually like something like Logan, where it's like, finally we get to, have a R-rated Wolverine movie, then it's just Wolverine saying like fuck every like 15 seconds. I'm fine with that. That's fine. But in this, it's like there wasn't a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of like F-bombs or anything. It's mostly dark just because of what happens in the movie, and it's rated R because of the themes of what it's talking about and what Joaquin Phoenix actually does in the movie.
Yeah, they dropped the F-bomb, I want to say 3, maybe 4 times.
I think it's 3 times, yeah.
It wasn't much. How'd you feel about all the rest of the cast, though? I don't even remember who.
I think the cast was great. Robert De Niro was really good. I thought he could have just like phoned it in, but he was really good. Zazie Beetz was good in it. She's got a very small part, but she was good in it. Brian T. Henry shows up. He's the clerk at that place. He was good. He's a really good actor and pretty much everything. And he's going to be in Eternals too, which is funny. I thought everyone did a pretty damn good job for what this movie is.
It's mainly Joaquin Phoenix, though.
He's driving the clown car.
I think he's on like every minute of screen time.
Pretty much. There's very little is without him.
It's
really him.
Just a few times when they cut away from him, I guess, is when he's not on screen. But other than that, he's
him.
Very much about him.
Yeah. I love this movie. I thought this movie was fantastic. It's probably, I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year. It might be at the end of the, there's still some movies that are coming out that might knock it out. I don't know. But it's definitely one of my favorites, and I would recommend going to see it.
I would recommend seeing it. It's just, I couldn't watch it again. I need to wait. A week.
See, you know me. I like dark, twisted shit like this. I could see it. I could watch this all the time.
Like, I need a breather. I need to wait a week, and then I could watch it again.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see a lot of people just being like this, because it's a
lot.
Movie.
It's a lot to take in too.
There's
really a lot of stuff going on, and it's a lot to take in. A lot to take in.
So now we will get into spoilers, where we can really talk about the movie in depth. So if you haven't seen it, come back after you've seen it, or if you just don't care about being spoiled, then just stay, I guess, and just listen to us bullshit about a movie.
So what do you want to talk about first?
I want to talk about, for one, I want to talk about the look of the Joker, because I think this movie created kind of a new look for the Joker that I think is going to be just as iconic and probably even cooler than how the Joker usually looks. Because there's some shots of Joaquin Phoenix in the Joker garb, like walking down the street with like a cigarette in his mouth, and I'm like, he looks badass.
You're talking about the end, right, where he's all getted up or whatever?
Just the suit and the clown.
Yeah,
makeup. Like he looks badass
towards the end where he's got the red or orange suit or whatever.
Yeah,
the
red and orange like
that. There's a few shots of that where I'm like, this is unsettling. Like the way he looks is unsettling.
It's all in the face. It's all in the way Joaquin Phoenix. He just, he'll look a certain way, and I'm just like, ugh.
Like he's a creepy looking dude.
And that one shot when his friends come over to his apartment and his face is all white, he hasn't like finished the face paint, and he's like stretching out on the thing or whatever, and he just kind of like looks up at that dude. I'm like, I don't want to be here right now. Like that if I saw that from like you, I'd fucking leave. I'd be like, I'm done with this shit.
Also just the way he carries himself, he's just an awkward, creepy dude.
Yeah.
In general. And I think that's one of the things that I liked, is that he just, every time he was on screen, it made me cringe because he was so uncomfortable.
Awkward. He's awkward without being. I'm glad they didn't make him like too creepy. He was like just creepy enough that like you kind of feel for him a little bit, where you're like, oh, he's just kind of off a little bit. He's not like a fucking like weird creepy stalker, man. He's just a little off, and he just kind of, he's got that disorder where he laughs and whatever, which I think that was kind of a fun take on the Joker laugh. I don't think they've ever done that before, and that was.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about it actually being a disorder, though?
I think that's kind of neat, and that's also very kind of fucked up, especially towards the end when he realizes that like maybe it's not a disorder, maybe it's just me. Like maybe I just am a fucking lunatic and I laugh at things when you shouldn't laugh. Like
I feel like that was left a little ambiguous because like when the whatever. When the cops ask him like, "Is this real?" He's like, "What do you think?"
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck do you think?"
And it's kind of like, is it real or is he just?
And that's another part of why I like this movie, is because it's a movie about the Joker. A majority of this film, you don't know what is actually happening and what is like in his mind, and I love that, because this is definitely a movie that you can see multiple times and probably pick up different things and be like, "Oh, is that actually happening? Is that real? Is that not? Whatever." Because it'll fuck with your mind a little bit, and I really appreciated that.
At first, I was like, "This is a stupid cop out to get him laughing a lot, and make it realistic." But then I was like, "Okay, this is actually a plot point, though."
Yeah,
like,
it could be bullshit. We don't know.
It could be. Who knows? But I feel like it was made for mostly a plot point, especially when he does his stand up, and like that's kind of like a big driver for the plot.
That stand up scene was hard to watch.
God,
I was like, this, like, fuck. I could like seeing videos on YouTube of like people bombing on stage. I'm like, that is exactly how it feels, and it sucks. And I hate watching that because I'm just like, I feel so bad for that fucking guy.
God, and that's what I'm talking about when I say like his performance is so cringy. It makes me uncomfortable, and I was uncomfortable for the whole movie because he's so cringy.
Yeah, he does it. He plays it really well.
He does,
and I love the moments like when he finally, like when he's on the subway train and those guys are like picking on him or whatever, and he just fucking brutally just murders them in cold blood. The moment like right after that, when he's in the bathroom, wherever the hell that bathroom is, just in the park somewhere, wherever the hell that is. And he's just like, he looks at himself in the mirror and he's just kind of like dancing or whatever. I was like, this movie is I call it beautifully dark, because he essentially goes on a hero's journey throughout the movie, but he's a villain. So by the end, where, a hero, you'd be like, oh yeah, good for them. You're kind of like, ugh, like fuck that guy. Like, I don't want that. But in that moment, when he's in the bathroom, you kind of feel for him a little bit. You're like, oh, he's finally kind of like, he's gained some confidence in himself, and he's kind of like taking control of his life. And like, that's kind of a good moment. But at the same time, you're like, he just murdered 3 people.
Yeah. And I don't know if I liked how he murdered them because they were beating him up, though. I feel like,
I think to a point it started off as self-defense, and then he took it a little too far.
I think it was like his breaking point, but
yeah, that was when he fucking. There was one shot of Joaquin Phoenix just like holding the gun out of the subway where I'm like, that's the fucking Joker right there.
But like, I feel like to make it darker, you could have played it more as he just kind of wanted to do it. I know that's what that's what they did play it as.
That's what I think initially towards the end of the movie, he comes to realize is that like he's really good at this and he enjoys doing this and he's kind of found his calling in life. Being a villain, which is fucked up, but that kind of fits in the Joker's character as well. That's something he definitely comes to realize. But I see what you're saying in that scene.
Yeah.
He
does it for self-defense. And then afterwards, a little bit, he's like, I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. But I feel like it could have made it just a little bit more darker if he just kind of just did it. I don't know.
But I think if they did that, they would have to establish before that he's violent. And I think that was supposed to be the moment where we see that, like, oh, he killed somebody and he enjoyed it. Like, this is the first time he is feeling enjoyment from doing something.
I think they could have. I think it would have been fine because they later on go with he was abused and stuff like that. So it makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
So
I can see that.
I think it could have worked, but
I can see that.
Maybe not. Maybe his first thing isn't he killed somebody, but maybe he beat somebody up to a point or something, but he didn't kill him. And then
maybe, yeah,
it kind of gets him for that almost bloodlust, and he's like, okay, I can do that, but what if I do this? And it's like I take it a step further, and I don't know.
Which I mean, they definitely do that, but yeah, I see what you're saying. They could have done it differently.
Yeah, and there's just I don't think he killed a lot of people. He killed like 4 or 5. He
killed the 3 kids on the subway. He killed the talk show host at the end, which was a great moment. He kills his mom, and it's implied. There's 2 deaths that are implied that may or may not have happened. Towards the end with the doctor lady, I think it's implied that he killed her because of the footsteps at the end. And I think Zazie Beetz, I think it's implied that he might have killed her as well.
The girlfriend.
The girlfriend. I think it's implied that he might have killed her as well.
Yeah. Also, the fucking score in this, we didn't talk about this in non-spoilers, it's fucking amazing.
It's amazing. It's incredible.
It gave me chills sometimes. But that I'm going to talk about the girlfriend for a little bit. When that scene where they were like starting to get together, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, is she going to also kind of be like a little crazy? Like, is she going to be this universe's Harley Quinn? And she's kind of obsessed with him. Like, I didn't know where they were fucking going with this. They could have did anything. So I'm glad that they went with the direction they went with because it was fucking dark and fucked up.
I'm glad they did it because I was like, first of all, he's weird.
Yeah,
he's just weirdo. And second of all, he just walked into your apartment and just like started making out with you. That's also weird.
Yeah, that was a moment where I was like, that's not okay. Like that's a little. There were moments where I was like she's laughing at everything he's saying. Like really. And then when they did but I kind of wish that they left it a little bit more ambiguous, where they didn't show like the moment where Arthur realizes that he was like kind of making her up, and they do the flashback scenes, and then they show the scenes of her in the scene and then out of the scene. I wish they left that a little bit more ambiguous, because the moment when she does kind of walk into her apartment and sees him, she goes, "Oh, you're Arthur, right? From down the hall or whatever." I was like, wait a minute. That was all bullshit. Like, fuck. And I think I know why they put it in there, because they want the audience because people are dumb and they want, audience members to be clued in on it. But I think it would have been a lot more fun if they left it like, oh, were they actually kind of a thing, or was it, was he just making it all up?
Yeah. As soon as she said you're Arthur, right, I was like, oh shit.
I was like, oh fuck. That was the moment where I was like, this movie just got good. Like, fuck.
I was just like, oh no, they're doing that. They're doing it.
Yeah.
And then I think I had that moment too when you figured out that his mom wasn't his mom and stuff like that. When all that
that was real fucked up.
When all that shit's going down, you're like, oh shit. You're like, man, this dude's having a fucked up time right now.
Yeah. And another thing, do you think that because when they do that flashback of his mom when she was younger in the mental institution, we see Arthur in that scene. Do you think that maybe he could have been in he wasn't her son at all, and he could have been like in a relationship with her or something?
I don't think
because that doctor guy in that scene mentions that he's like, you've had some abusive relationships or whatever before, and right as he says that, that's when we see Arthur in the scene, and he's just like chilling out in the fucking side or whatever. So I think maybe there's something there. I don't know what's there, but there's something.
I felt like it was more implied he was abused. Arthur was abused. And like he's abused to the point where he doesn't really remember it, if that makes sense. And he has brain.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could be. That's the great thing about this movie. Fucking, there's like a million different outcomes of like whatever you think happened. And I think that's fun. I enjoy movies like that.
The Thomas Wayne stuff, I was really not liking that at all at first.
Yeah. I thought it was a cool kind of twist because they've done that in the comics before, and I think if this was going to go on to some, like, if this was going to connect to the Batman or do some other Batman stuff, it would have been so cool if, like, maybe like Arthur knows he's related to Bruce. He doesn't know that Bruce is Batman, and Batman doesn't even know he has a brother, but somehow they come back and they find each other as Batman and the Joker, and they have that kind of relationship as that could have been really well done and really, like, beautiful stuff if done right, which they probably wouldn't have done it right. But I'm kind of glad with what happened because it fits within the character of Arthur to just kind of, like, make everything up and do stuff.
Yeah, and I'm glad they were like, yeah, no, he's not your dad. And I'm like, thank God. I'm like, I don't. And then this was a complaint too. I didn't like how they showed Thomas Wayne and Martha dying at the end. I was like, you didn't need to fucking show that.
Yeah, again, like I said, probably the biggest complaint I have is all the, like, the DC inclusion stuff where it's like, did we really need to see the Waynes get killed again in another Batman movie? Like, come on. But I think it's fucking really cool that the Joker is responsible for the Waynes dying. I think that, like, he didn't do it. They didn't pull like an 89 Batman where it's like, oh, the Joker did it, but he's responsible. Like, he's what caused Gotham to be the way it is, and he's responsible for the Wayne murders. I think that's kind of cool, but we didn't really need it. It should have been implied like everything else in the movie was. It should have just been like, maybe they died because of what he did. We didn't have to see it on the nose. Like, they're fucking dead now.
Yeah. And then I didn't think Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne were going to be as involved in the story as I thought they were going to be. Bruce Wayne really wasn't. He was. Yeah,
he shows up in, like,
Thomas Wayne was a lot involved. Not like the actor, but like just Thomas Wayne's name was involved a lot with the story. And I didn't think it was going that route, but it did, which I was okay with. I was fine with that.
Yeah, that was fine.
How did you feel about the Joker and the Bruce Wayne meeting and all that?
That was a really fucked up scene. For one, Bruce Wayne must be a dumb kid because you see a creepy man peeking over the fence with a clown nose. You don't fucking go towards him. You fucking run the other way.
He's still innocent at this point. His parents are still alive.
It doesn't matter. You see a stranger danger, all right? But when he starts, like, when that guy comes up, who I'm guessing that's Alfred, comes up and he's just like, get the fuck out of here. And then he starts, like, choking him. I'm like, that, fuck yeah. They didn't say his name, but I assume that's Alfred.
I would assume so too.
A younger Alfred.
Maybe he's like a groundskeeper or something. I don't know, but
could be.
He was wearing a
ass groundkeeper.
I was gonna say he was wearing a suit. So,
yeah.
But yeah, Bruce Wayne. I don't think he says anything throughout.
No, he doesn't say anything.
I really like the interaction between Joker and Thomas Wayne too. I like that whole scene.
Yeah,
I like.
You're my dad, and I'm not your fucking dad. And he punched him in the face.
Well, it got some emotion out of me when he was like, "I just want a hug." Like, he's just like, he wants closure almost. Like,
yeah, he. I think Arthur's, like, driving force is just kind of. He mentions at one point, he's like, I don't exist. Like, nobody. I'm just a guy. Like, I don't exist in this world. And I think his whole kind of point for doing what he's doing is finding something that, like, finding himself, and he finds himself at the end. And that's in that confrontation. He wants answers. He wants to find out, like, am I crazy? Are you actually my dad? Am I, like, what the fuck is happening? And that's really what he wants. And he finds that at the end, which I think it's a nice arc, but he's a brutal fucking character, which sucks.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point of the movie.
Yeah. Before we start talking about the end, because I feel like there's quite a bit you can talk about with the end. Do you think this could somehow be implemented into the DC universe?
I don't think the DCEU. It could be. Well, I don't think the DCEU, but I think this new kind of, like, wherever the hell the Batman takes place, they could. And I think there was a moment towards the end when, like, the Joker's on that cop car, like, doing his thing. I'd be like, this would be an amazing start for a DC universe. And not necessarily, like, I don't need to see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker interact with Batman. I don't need that, and I don't want that. But if Joaquin Phoenix's character inspired a future Joker that then becomes the Joker that we know, that then goes and fights Batman, that could be really fucking cool. And I'd be totally down for that.
That was more of what I was thinking. I was like, you could put this in the DCEU if you wanted. You could say Jared Leto's Joker is a copycat of.
I mean, yeah, you could. And that was definitely a theory when that Joker was coming out. Everyone kind of thought that.
And you could play it off as this takes place in DCU before Man of Steel and stuff like that.
I mean, the actors are different. Like the Waynes are different. But like,
Yeah, but that's
But you could write that off as the Joker, just imagining them differently because he's a fucking crazy person.
Yeah. But then I think you're right. I think this could be the start of the Batman universe, I guess. Like whatever the Batman takes place in.
It could be, yeah. I don't know if the timeline would necessarily mix up because I think Matt Reeves said he wanted it to be in like the 80s, and this looked like it was set in like the 70s. So I don't think it really like matches up that well.
I mean,
but who really cares?
If Bruce Wayne was 10 in this, he'd be 20-ish.
I can't. Robert Pattinson's like 30 years old though.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. There was a lot of hints towards the greater DC universe, and it was just like, do they want this to be in a bigger universe, or are they just kind of hinting?
I think they might try to find a way to squeeze this into something. I don't want them to though. I'm kind of fine with it just being like, here's a movie that we made, and that's kind of it. Like I'm fine with that.
It's Warner Brothers though. What do you expect?
I mean, I guess Warner Brothers doesn't know what the hell they're doing though.
I have some statistical stuff. I think it made 15 million yesterday.
Yesterday, Friday. So opening.
No, Thursday night. Thursday night, Friday morning. It made 15 million, which is a lot for
an R-rated
superhero film.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it outgrossed Logan for the first day. So, which is what I think they're comparing it to. So it's on pace to be really good. Apparently, a lot of reviewers I've seen though are not taking kindly to it, so that may derail it a little.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of critics talk about it and talk about like, you know, movies like this aren't really like good because they could like inspire people to go do bad things. I don't believe any of that shit. I think it's entertainment. It's a movie. The whole point of the movie is for us as an audience to ask like, should we be like rooting for guys like this? And should we, you know, it's meant for us to ask questions about reality in the world we live in. I've seen a lot of Joker fans and a lot of like comic book fans really like loving this movie, which is good.
Like I said, I like it. It's just there's just some issues I have with it.
Yeah, I don't think it's perfect, but I loved it. I thought it was great.
So let's talk about the end. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about before.
I kind of wish that if we're going full on like, you know, comic references, I kind of wish those two cops that were interrogating Arthur, I kind of wish that it was Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Bullock. Like, why not? They kind of look like Commissioner Gordon and Harvey Bullock anyway. But there was like, my name's Detective like Burke or whatever. And I'm like,
I feel like it was
make him Commissioner Gordon.
I feel like it was implied those cops died though.
It could have, but
I think they were just beaten to a pulp by that mob.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I thought at least. Maybe they didn't, but
I don't know. Anything again, it's the Joker. Anything could fucking.
That's what I took from it. But let's talk about the end. The end for me sold the movie on it, whether I liked it or not.
Are we talking like from the talk show on?
Yeah, from when he goes onto the show on, sold the movie. I thought it was really good after that.
That was great.
There's so much going on with the end. Like I feel like I need to rewatch it almost again because
there was a lot happening. And I like that like dance he does. I love all the dance and stuff because it's like it's sort of like in Into the Spider-Verse when Miles first jumps off the building when he first gets his powers and he falls down and you see like the him screaming like like going down the building, and then when the what's up danger moment happens, he swings up the building and he says like woo, and it like goes up the building. It's sort of that something happens in this movie that's kind of like that when Arthur goes up the steps and the first time like at the beginning and he's all like beaten down and he's just like sad and whatever, and then towards the end when he's in full Joker makeup just dancing down those same steps and he finally kind of found confidence in himself. And I like how the dancing kind of represented that in a way where he kind of just doesn't care anymore about any, because like the people at the monitor are kind of looking at him like what the fuck is he doing, but he doesn't care because he's got confidence now. He doesn't give a fuck. I like stuff like that.
I felt like it was kind of a symbolism of his descent into madness more and more.
That too, yeah.
So that's what I took from it. Like every time he started dancing, I'm like, he's becoming more and more crazy.
He's fucking losing it.
Yeah. That and the fact that he's like, I'm not taking my meds anymore. That's when I forgot to talk about that. When they're in, those two guys come to visit him, he's like, I'm not taking my meds anymore. And I'm like, oh shit.
That scene, can we talk about that scene for a second before we talk about the end?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. That scene was intense. And that scene, I think, perfectly sums up what a Joker movie should be, because that scene was tense as all fuck. Because right as he kills that guy, the big guy, the dick friend that screwed him over earlier on in the movie, the little guy in the corner was so frightened and terrified, and Arthur's like, "You can go ahead and go." He runs to the door. Door's locked. He can't reach it. And at first I was like, "Oh fuck." He did that on purpose. He's locked that fucking. He's gonna fucking murder this guy, and you don't know what's gonna happen in the scene. And then he's like, "Arthur, can you like open the door, please?" And he's so scared and frightened. And then Arthur just gets up and he opens the door and he lets him go. I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's kind of cool. That's the Joker. He's unpredictable, and he's supposed to make you feel uneasy, but you don't know what he's gonna do. He could be friendly to you. He could just kill you just cause. And that scene was like the perfect kind of representation of that.
They did it twice though in the same scene. Because he goes and unlocks the door, and then he turns around and he goes, "You know what, Joe?" And he shuts it again.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh shit!" Now he's gonna do it. And then he's like, "You were the only person that was kind to me." And then he like kisses him on the head.
Yeah, and he just lets him go. And I was like, "All right, that's kind of fun."
That's because I thought he was just like messing with him. He's like, "All right, I'm gonna go open it, but I'm gonna close it and then murder him." It's like, but nah, Joker is fucked up. He's a fucked up.
He really is. He's fucked.
But that moment when he's like, "I'm not taking my meds no more," and I'm like, Jesus. He looks so like freaking scary. I'm like, no, because he's like got the pale white face, and
that was so when he was painting his face and he like paints his tongue. I was like, all right, this guy's off his fucking rocker. Like he just does not care anymore. He's over it.
And I think it's awesome. I think that
it's great. Awesome. I thought it was awesome. It reminded me a lot of De Niro's character in Taxi Driver, where he's just this whole movie is just like, hey, watch a guy go crazy for 2 hours. Like that's essentially what it is.
So the end, back to trying to talk
back
about
to the end.
Back to the end. It was implied. I think this is what they were implying or trying to fake you out earlier in the movie when they was like doing his bit, like he was practicing for it. He was like, all right, I'm going to do this knock knock joke. And then he like pretends to shoot himself. I was like, okay, are they going to go the route? Like he's going to commit suicide at the end?
I think originally his intent was to go on the show and kill himself as like a statement. Like, hey, like, don't fuck with people and be like mean to them or whatever. But then Robert De Niro just kept like making fun of him. And I think he was like, you know what? Fuck you. And he decided to kill him instead. I think
that's what I took from it too. I think when he read that quote in his book, he was like, all right, this isn't where I die. This is it's not my time yet.
Yeah. Which is awesome. And I love how like blunt some of the dialogue during that scene was a little like on the nose. Like where he's like, what do you get when you leave a loner? Like when you make fun of a loner, you get what you fucking deserve. I was like, all right, like chill. But right after that, he just pulls out the gun and just poof. It was like the most blunt gunshot I've ever heard in like a movie or anything. He immediately just pulls the gun out and shoots him in the head. Doesn't like hesitate at all. It just blows him away. Everyone around him is fucking screaming. He gets up. He starts like kind of like doing a little dance. And then he walks over to the camera and just starts like talking to the camera. I'm like, that's the fucking Joker. That's the guy.
I love right before that where he's like, I killed those 3 guys. He's just
and I liked it.
Yeah, and I liked it. I was like, shit.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
I also found it a little weird that Robert De Niro was just like, okay, let's keep the show going. Okay, why?
That's a little weird. He would have been like, can we cut, please?
He's like, I'm sitting next to a murderer. Let's stop.
I don't think De Niro believed him in that moment. I think he was playing into this guy like just being out of his mind.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was.
Because they say earlier, like before they bring him out, when he's all done up in his face paint, and he's like, introduce me, don't introduce me as Arthur, introduce me as Joker. I was like, that's a cool fucking moment. And they're like, this guy's off his fucking rocker, like blah blah blah. So I think De Niro kind of just took it as like, oh, this guy's not really all there, like whatever. He's just making this up. Like this is good TV. And then he fucking died.
Yeah, which like as soon as he didn't say his knock knock joke, I was like, he's gonna fucking murder him.
Yeah.
As soon as that knock knock joke didn't happen, I was like, fuck, he's gonna kill that guy.
Yeah, for sure. And that's probably my favorite scene in the movie. I really love that scene.
I was gonna say when they cut to the camera of the show, like the camera that's filming the show, and it's kind of like you see it's like an older film grain and stuff's kind of a little pixelated. I thought when they like look at the Joker, I'm like, he is fucking creepy.
Yeah, like the
Right
curtain was like half open, and you just kind of see his face, and he's like moving around with the cigarette in his mouth. I'm like, that's a creepy ass shot.
It was, and I was like, "This is terrifying."
Joaquin Phoenix is fucking terrifying in this movie.
He is, and even when he goes and sits down, he's like all stiff and stuff. He's
Yeah,
like,
he sat down and he doesn't smile. He just looks around, and he's just looking at stuff, and his eyes are like bugging out of his head, and he's just sitting there. And I'm like, he's gonna do something. I'm like, something's gonna happen. Like that, and that's so cool that you can just look at a character and just you're expecting something to happen, but nothing really happens until like 5 minutes later. But something like I was like, that fucker's thinking about something. So he's gonna do something.
he was planning in his head. He was
planning some shit.
Yeah. And then after he kills De Niro, how'd you feel about the end of after that?
I think well, another problem I have is that this movie kind of has three endings in a way where like when after he grabs the camera and the camera kind of pans out, you see those monitors. For some reason, to me, that felt like the end, like it was just gonna cut to black right there, and then it kept going, and then there was another moment during that whole like raid scene or whatever where it was like, all right, it could end right here, and it just kept going. So it kind of like ends multiple times. It has like the in-game ending where it just ends like 4 or 5 times.
I didn't understand the whole screen. What was that when they pulled out?
I think it was just panning out, showing you that like, oh, people are taking notice of this fucking guy. Like he's on the news. It's Arthur getting what he wanted. He wants to be noticed. He wants to be, you know, whatever. And he got what he wanted.
I think that was implied though with the raid, and everybody was using the.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the final like nail in the coffin. That like, oh, he's started some shit. But at the same time, that could have been imagined.
Okay, you could say this whole movie was imagined by him.
Could have.
You never know. But how'd you feel about like when he was in the cop car and all that stuff?
That stuff was great. At first, I thought he was dead because that car accident. I was like, "That's fucking like, did they just kill him? Like that sucks." But then they like take him out and they put him on, you know, the hood of the car. Then he gets up and the blood from his mouth, he like puts his fingers in his mouth and creates a smile. I was like, this dude, this is the Joker. Like at the end of this movie, he is like final form Joker in a way. I was like, that's a Joker I want to see in like future movies or whatever. That's not gonna happen. But like this guy's gone full on like crazy clown man.
JP said he don't want to come.
That's fine. That makes sense. He's not a sequel guy.
Which I think this is a good standalone movie.
Yeah, I think if you do more with this, it'll ruin this movie. I think the whole point of this movie is just to be here's a story. Here's a Joker origin story. It felt like a comic. It felt like an Elseworld comic where it's just like here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
Do you think would you be okay with it if it did start its own universe? Like you never see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker again, but it just kind of starts stuff.
Well, like I said, like I think this would be a really cool start of a universe, and I don't want to see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker again. I think this is like he had a beginning, a middle, and end. Like that's it. But this, if they do want to kind of do like a sub universe, or if they just want to quit the DCEU and just start it from here, that's fine. But I think just leave it alone. Like just leave it its own thing.
Like you pick up where, like you said, where Bruce Wayne left off. And
yeah, it could start like Bruce Wayne is an adult now. He's in Gotham, and then he's like, you know, 20, 30 years ago, there was some crazy fucking lunatic who started a riot and caused Gotham to become a shithole or whatever. Like something like you can tie it in, but just don't have Joaquin Phoenix in it. That could work if they do it well. If
they wanted to do another Joker versus Batman, you say it's a copycat?
Yeah, because they've done that before in the comics. There's been like the whole 3 Jokers thing where it's just like there's been different eras of Joker, and Batman's like, what, like what? And so you could have multiple Jokers running around at the same time. Like that could be fun.
And I feel like that was almost implied with everybody wearing the Joker mask.
Yeah.
At the end, it's just like, okay, somebody else could be the Joker. You know?
Yeah, somebody's gonna fucking be inspired by this guy and become the Joker that Batman eventually ends up beating the shit out of later.
Yeah. So the age difference is quite drastic. So I was like, there's no way Batman grows up to fight this Joker.
Unless it's old man Joker.
Which that'd be weird. Because I was getting the impression that he was like 40s ish.
Yeah, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is like 40 something.
Yeah. So whenever Bruce Wayne was 30, he'd be 60. So
yeah, so that'd be a little weird.
Yeah. But
and then there's the end where he's in the hospital or whatever.
Yeah. Which I don't know why. I didn't think that was unnecessary.
I kind of like it because I like how it ends where he walks down the hallway and he runs off screen and then runs back off screen and people are chasing after him. That to me, that reminded me of the Joker though, where it's like this whole thing is just like a game where he's just like, fuck it, like I don't give a fuck, like whatever, and he's just running trying to escape out of Arkham or wherever the hell that was. That reminded me a lot of the Joker.
I would assume that was Arkham, and I very much think it's implied that he killed that lady.
Oh, very much, yeah. She's dead.
I thought for sure the end was gonna be because he had like his handcuffs on. I was like, he's gonna start dancing, and then he's just gonna like
loosen him or whatever. Like that would have been fun.
And he's not gonna have his handcuffs on anymore. And just kind of like walk out, and I'm just like, oh.
Which I mean, we technically didn't see the handcuffs at the end because he was kind of like,
yeah. But the way he was dancing, his hands never came apart. So I'm like, okay, I think he still has the handcuffs on. But
yeah, he could have.
I thought that's how it was gonna end. Like he was gonna dance, and you wouldn't see the handcuffs, and then he just open his hands, and it'd just be
that would have been fucking really cool. And I think the ending when he is in the hospital really implies a lot about the movie, where it's like how much of this movie was actually fake, because there's some stuff in it where it's like earlier they referenced the fact that he was in a hospital before when he's that scene where he's like banging his head on the fucking window, and it's like it looks like the same room that we see at the end where it's like all white and everything, and I'm like, what if he was just like in this, like what if he probably was like a crazy person who killed some people, but the start of this movie is just all in his head, and we've just been witnessing delusions from his own brain, and he's been in this hospital the whole time.
Do you think like the end is him telling the story of the movie?
It could have been his over exaggerated version of what actually happened, which the Joker has done before, which also ties into fitting with the Joker's character, because there's some stuff like at the end when he's like, I just thought of something funny, and then it just flashes and he sees the Wayne or the Waynes and they're dead. He didn't see that. He wasn't there for that. How would he know that?
True.
So
I feel like a lot of the end is up to debate. Like you could just
it is, and I think that's fun.
Whatever the ending you want it to be.
And I hope there's an answer. I hope Todd Phillips has like a definitive answer, and I hope we never find out what it is. I hope because that would ruin the movie. Like part of the fun is talking about it and being like, what actually happened?
Like Pulp Fiction and Quentin Tarantino, everybody asks him, what's in the box? It's just like,
it doesn't matter.
There's no post-credit scene. So.
Which is good. It doesn't need one.
I was going to stay. I was like, maybe there is. And then I looked it up. I was like,
I just left. I just assumed there wasn't one because there didn't need to be one. And there wasn't.
No, there wasn't a post-credit scene. So the end was the end. And I think it'll stay a standalone for a little bit at least.
I think it will. I know Todd Phillips has said like he doesn't want to do another one. And Joaquin Phoenix has said he's like open to it. He's not gonna fucking do another one. He's never done a sequel in his life. You think he's gonna come back and do a Joker 2? Like fuck you.
Nah. They could always throw him in the background somewhere if they made this into a universe.
They could, yeah, easily.
Just have some dude dress up as Joker and he's like lurking in the background.
Yeah. But that's the same reason why he turned down Doctor Strange originally, because he was gonna be Doctor Strange, and then he found out that it was gonna be for like 10 films, and he's like, no, fuck that.
I like Benedict Cucumber.
I do too, but Joaquin Phoenix would have been a fucking great Doctor Strange.
Is there anything else you want to talk about Joker?
There's been a lot of talk about like who's better, Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix. I don't think that's really like a question you could ask or you can answer, because they're both completely different.
They don't even feel like the same character almost.
They don't, because they're kind of not, but they kind of are at the same time, which is weird.
Yeah, but the way they both handle the Joker is, like you said, they're completely different. So.
Yeah, because Heath Ledger's is very kind of reminiscent of Mark Hamill's in a way. It's like a more realistic version of Mark Hamill's Joker, but he's still kind of over the top. And then this is like if the Joker was a real person.
Yeah,
this is what he would be like.
That's what I took from it. This Joker is a real life Joker. He has a mental illness.
Yeah,
Heath Ledger's Joker is the comic book Joker.
Comic book Joker, but a little bit more grounded.
Yeah,
but still comic booky and goofy.
And then this is the grounded Joker.
It's almost as if like Heath Ledger's Joker is someone who was inspired by Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in a way, like in that world. Like it kind of seems like that a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know.
I could fucking tie it into The Dark Knight.
That'd be really weird.
Holy shit.
That'd be really weird. But yeah. Other than that, is there anything else you want to say?
I really love this movie. It's not for everyone, So don't go in expecting like a fun time at the theater. Because
like I said, do not go into this thinking it's a comic book movie. It's not. It's
not.
Far from it. It's a hyper realistic movie.
It's a man's descent into madness for 2 hours.
Yes.
So if that doesn't sound fun to you, don't go fucking see the movie.
And I don't know everybody, but I think most people will go into this and be a little uncomfortable by it. And I think that's the point of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
I heard some people who went to go see it like opening day, they took their kids and they're like, don't go see this with your kids.
What a fucking idiot.
I'm like,
whoever did that, you're an awful parent.
I'm like, it's rated R. Why would you go take your kid?
Yeah, do some research on the fucking movie. And even if it wasn't, it's still a movie about a villain who probably, like, if this was PG-13, he'd probably still do some pretty fucked up shit because it's about a villain. Don't take your kids to go see a movie about a guy who just murders people.
Somebody was like, don't take your kids to go see this. It's not a comic book movie. I'm like, really?
Yeah, really. You didn't do any research on this fucking movie.
Did you even watch the trailer? Like, good lord.
Probably not. They probably just saw the poster and was like, oh, a Joker movie. Let's just go see a Joker movie.
And somebody else was like, it wasn't funny. I'm like, it's not supposed to be funny.
There were some funny moments in it that I appreciate. Like when he's at the hospital and his gun falls out and he's just like, fuck. I was like, that was kind of funny.
Just people, I guess, saw it being called the Joker. Like,
I guess because all anyone knows about the Joker, oh, he's a goofy clown man. Like, no, the Joker's a lot deeper than just being a goofy clown man.
Well, in more recent years, he is. Back in the day,
the original Joker literally was just, and this is why I like the 60s Joker so much, is because he's kind of this, where he was solely meant to just fuck with Batman. That was his whole character. He didn't like steal shit. He didn't rob banks. He was just like, I want to fuck with Batman. That's it. And I love that. I think that's fucking fantastic.
But yeah, I give this movie a solid B. I liked it.
A solid B. Wow. If I was to give this, I would give this like a 10 out of 10. I think this movie's fantastic.
Really?
I think this is what I want from a Batman movie. Not like an R-rated, like disturbing like Batman movie, but the fact that the reason I like Batman is because he is a crazy person and he's not. I like Batman because you're not supposed to like Batman, because he's a crazy person. He's a criminal. He's a lunatic. He's off his fucking rocker. And this, I feel like if you did a Batman story like this, it would be incredible. And it'd be like my favorite Batman movie of all time. A character study on Batman and a movie that would actually make people look at Batman and go like, oh fuck, maybe we shouldn't like Batman because he's insane. I think a lot of people are watching this movie like Joker fans, and I know some people, you know, from like college and stuff who were like huge Joker fans. I'm sure they'd watch this movie and be like, oh, like fuck, should I like the Joker? Like, he's just fucked up, disturbing guy.
He's an unsettling person.
He really is.
But yeah, I liked it. I
loved it. I thought it was great.
I'll recommend it to people. But
I want to watch it again.
Like I said, I need like a breather.
I'm also like kind of a crazy person myself, and I like dark shit like this. So
you're saying for sure you're getting this like on Blu-ray?
I'm gonna get this on Blu-ray. I'm gonna get this on Steelbook. I'm gonna get like 15 copies of this fucking movie. I love this movie.
You and your DC movies.
Fucking, it's not even the fact that it's DC. If this movie was shit, I would tell you it's shit.
I know, but it's just
this movie.
It makes you feel better that it is a DC movie. Too.
Oh, I'm so glad, and I hope DC takes notice. And I hope they just like fuck Birds of Prey. Don't even release that movie. Like, leave that alone. Make more movies like this. Not all of them need to be rated R, because not every movie needs to be rated R. But like, just make more standalone comic book movies that are just like, here's a story. That's it. You know, like maybe do it like the X-Men way, where like cast a Batman, cast a Superman or whatever, and have the same actors be Batman and Superman for like a decade, but just tell different stories. Do like Elseworld stories on them. I think that'd be fucking awesome.
It would be awesome.
Just do random, like, here's Gotham by Gaslight, here's Superman Red Sun, here's, you know, Killing Joke, here's whatever. Like, just do that. They don't need to be all connected.
But I think Warner Brothers has too big of a hand in their movies, and that's why.
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, it's like, how did this movie get made then?
Because I think they didn't have a big hand in it.
Well, yeah, but like they okayed it.
Yeah.
They can't okay other movies like that. Like, that's.
I don't know. I think when it comes to the DCEU, they're like, this needs to make money.
I guess, but it hasn't, and they need to wake up and see that it fucking hasn't.
Yeah, I know.
And this probably will, and this has been getting great reviews, and it's people, and there's a whole controversy about like, oh, is it going to spark violence in people or whatever. It's a conversation piece. People are talking about it.
People talk about
nobody talked about Batman vs Superman.
People talk about that with video games too. And
yeah, they do, which is a dumb argument.
But yeah, good movie.
Good movie. Go see it. Don't take your grandma to it. It's not a grandma movie.
No.
But if you're bored and you want to watch a weird fucked up movie, or if you're like me and you're crazy, go
like I
watch this
said,
movie.
I don't think it's for everybody. So
It's
some
not
people-
at all.
Some people will probably hate it. So
I'm sure there's a lot of people who I'm sure don't like it. And I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna end the video with this, and it's probably a bold thing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I don't care. I think this movie is the Taxi Driver of our generation.
whoa.
I think it is.
I thought you disagreed with that yesterday. You're like, I'm not going to make that statement, but
I'm gonna make that statement.
it's on record.
I'm gonna say it now. It is because it's essentially it's kind of the same movie in a way, but it's so good. I love it.
All right,
I loved it.
you said it. I didn't say it. You
I
said
loved it. I said it, and I'm gonna say it till the day I die.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
If you just